The great hall of the Galactic Assembly was full. Over 400 species sat in their seats. They came from every corner of the universe. Some had wings. Some had tentacles. Some were made of light itself. But today, they all shared the same feeling. Fear Ambassador Vilix stood at the center of the hall. He was a Norian, a tall creature, with silver skin and 4 arms. His voice was calm but serious. "My friends," he said, "I must speak of the humans." The hall went silent. That word always made everyone quiet. Humans. Just hearing it made some species uncomfortable. 300 years ago, Vilix continued, the humans left this part of the galaxy. They asked for one thing only. To be left alone? They took 12 star systems in a far corner of space. They called it the Quiet Zone, and we agreed to never bother them. A young delegate from a new species raised his hand. "Why, there are only 8 billion of them. That is nothing compared to most empires." Vilix smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Because, young one, the humans are different. They look weak. They have soft bodies, short lives, no natural weapons. But they survive things that would destroy other species. Ice ages, plagues. They even dropped nuclear bombs on their own planet and still survived." He paused and looked around the room. "And when someone attacks them, they do not just fight back. They make sure the threat never exists again. Entire species have disappeared because they attacked humanity. This is not a story. This is history. The rule exists for a reason. Never disturb the humans." Far away from the assembly in a dark sector of space. Someone was not listening to this warning. Emperor Krell sat on his throne made of bones. He was the ruler of the Voroth Empire. The Voreth were insect-like creatures. They had hard shells, sharp claws, and minds that worked together like one giant brain. For 4,000 years they had conquered everyone they met. Over 2,000 civilizations had fallen to them. Their fleet had 10 million warships. Krell looked at the star map in front of him. His 4 eyes focused on one small area, the Quiet Zone. "Tell me again," he said to his commander, "why we have never taken this territory." High Commander Talek stepped forward. He was old for a Voroth, and he had fought in many wars. "My Emperor, the humans live there. The ancient warnings say we must not attack them." "Warnings from who?" "From every species that has ever met them in battle. The warnings are thousands of years old." Krell laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Old stories told by weak species. Look at the facts, Talek. The humans have only 12 systems. Only 8 billion people. Only a small defense fleet. We have 10 million ships. We have trillions of soldiers. They are nothing." Talek hesitated. "My Emperor, I have studied their history. They are not like other species. When you push them, something changes. They become something else." "Enough." Krell waved his claw. "I have made my decision. We will invade the Quiet Zone. We will take their worlds. We will add their resources to our empire. And we will prove that the humans are just another weak species hiding behind old legends." Talek wanted to argue more, but he knew it was useless. When Krell decided something, no one could change his mind. "Yes, my Emperor," he said quietly. "I will prepare the fleet." In the Quiet Zone, life was peaceful. The humans had built beautiful worlds. They had farms and cities and schools. Children played in parks. Old people sat in gardens. It looked like paradise. On the colony world of New Busan, an old man named Taiho worked in his garden. He was 70 years old, with gray hair and kind eyes. His wife Sora brought him tea. "The tomatoes look good this year," she said. Taiho smiled.
"They do."
"I think this might be our best harvest." No one looking at him would guess that he was once Admiral Taiho, the most decorated military commander in human history. He had fought in 3 wars and won them all. But that was 40 years ago. Now he just wanted peace. On a small station at the edge of human space, a young woman named Yuna watched her monitors. She was an intelligence officer. Her job was to watch for any threats. Most days, nothing happened. Space was quiet. But today, something appeared on her screen. A ship. Then 2. Then 10. Then 100. Yuna's heart began to beat faster. She checked the signatures. Voroth. The Voroth Empire was coming. She immediately sent an alert to her commander. A man named Minho. He looked at the data, and his face went pale. Many ships? He asked. Thousands, Yuna said. Maybe more. They are heading for Hawan. Minho closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened them, and his face was hard. Send the message, he said. Protocol Crimson. Tell Earth. Tell everyone, Yuna typed quickly. Her hands were shaking, but her mind was clear. The message was simple. Just 3 words and a location. Protocol Crimson. Hawan 4. Somewhere in the galaxy, the Voroth fleet entered hyperspace. 10 million ships moved toward human territory. Emperor Krell watched from his throne, imagining his easy victory. He did not know that he had just made the worst mistake in the history of his species. He did not know that across the galaxy, humans were receiving a message they had hoped would never come. He did not know that in gardens and offices and schools, ordinary people were putting down their tools and remembering who they really were. The humans had been sleeping for 300 years. Now they were waking up, and the galaxy would remember why it had been afraid. The sky above Hawan IV turned red. The Voroth ships came out of hyperspace like a dark cloud. There were thousands of them, blocking out the stars. On the ground, 50,000 humans looked up and saw death coming. The Voroth did not wait. They destroyed the orbital defense platforms in seconds. Fire rained down from the sky. Buildings exploded. The ground shook. Commander Talek watched from his ship. He expected the humans to run in panic. He expected screaming and chaos. But something strange happened instead. The humans did not panic. Emergency sirens rang across every city and town. But instead of running in random directions, the humans moved with calm purpose. Families walked quickly but quietly to underground shelters. Parents held their children's hands. Old people helped each other. Within 30 minutes, the streets were empty. Talek frowned. Where did they go? His officers scanned the surface. Underground, Commander. There are bunkers everywhere. The whole colony has shelters built into the rock. Bunkers? This is supposed to be a farming colony. Seems every human settlement has them. They were there before the first building was constructed. Talek felt a cold feeling in his stomach. A farming colony that was built with military bunkers. Civilians who evacuated like trained soldiers. This was not normal. He sent a report to Emperor Krell, but did not share his worries. Krell would not listen anyway. At the edge of human space, Yuna sat at her station. The lights were dim. Only emergency power was running. She had to be careful. If the Voroth detected her station, they would destroy it. Her fingers moved across the keyboard. The message had been sent to Earth. Now she had to wait. She watched the Voroth fleet moving deeper into human territory. 3 more colonies were in their path. Come on, she whispered. Wake up. Please, wake up. On New Busan, morning sunlight came through the kitchen window. Taiho was eating breakfast with his wife Sora. The radio played soft music. Everything seemed normal. Then the music stopped. A single tone played. Taiho put down his spoon. He knew that tone. He had not heard it in 40 years. Protocol Crimson, a voice said. This is not a drill. Protocol Crimson. All retired military personnel report to your designated stations. Sora looked at her husband. Her eyes were sad but not surprised. She had always known this day might come. Taiho stood up slowly. He walked to the bedroom and opened an old cabinet. Inside was a uniform he had not worn in decades. Admiral's stars still shined on the shoulders. Next to it was a small data chip containing the location of ships that officially did not exist. He put on the uniform. It still fit. Some things you never forget. When he came back to the kitchen, Sora was waiting. She straightened his collar and touched his face. Come back to me, she said. I will. Promise me. He held her hands. I promise. When this is over, I will come back and we will watch the tomatoes grow. She smiled, even though tears were in her eyes. Then she let him go. Across human space, the same scene happened thousands of times. Old soldiers opened old cabinets. Retired pilots remembered how to fly. Scientists who had worked on secret projects returned to their labs. Teachers left their classrooms. Doctors closed their offices. The humans were not just farmers and shopkeepers. They had always been warriors. They had just chosen not to fight until now. The Vorath continued their advance. They took 3 more colonies, but every time it was the same. The humans disappeared underground. Nothing valuable was left behind. No prisoners were captured. It was like attacking empty shells, Talek reported to Emperor Krell. We have taken 4 colonies, my emperor. But something is wrong. Wrong. We are winning. Yes, but we have no prisoners. No resources. The humans take everything with them, or destroy it, and their evacuation is too organized. It is like they practiced this. Krell hissed with anger. They are cowards hiding in holes. Keep advancing. Break their bunkers. Show them they cannot hide from the Vorath. Yes, my emperor. The Vorath could not break the bunkers. The shelters were built deep into the planet. The doors were made of materials that Vorath weapons could not cut. It would take months to dig them out. In the Galactic Assembly, Ambassador Vilix received the news. His silver face went pale. He immediately tried to contact the Vorath. This is Ambassador Vilix of the Norian Federation. I have an urgent message for Emperor Krell. Please respond. It took hours, but finally, a Vorath official answered. What do you want, Norian? I want to warn your emperor. Turn back now, while you still can. We are winning. We have taken 4 human colonies. You have taken nothing. Vilix's voice was sharp. You have kicked a sleeping beast. You do not understand what is coming. The humans have been peaceful for 300 years. Do you know why? Because they are weak. No, because they were tired of war. They were tired of killing. They chose peace. But they never forgot how to fight. They never dismantled their weapons. They just put them away and hoped they would never need them again. There was silence on the other end. Turn back, Vilix said again. Apologize. Pay whatever price they ask. Do anything except continue this war. Because if you do not stop, they will not stop. They will come to your homeworld. They will destroy everything you have built. And there is nothing anyone in this galaxy can do to save you. The Vorath official laughed. You believe old stories. We believe in strength. We have 10 million ships. Connection closed. Vilix sat back in his chair. He looked at his assistant. Begin evacuation of all Norian colonies within 50 light-years of human space, sir. But we are neutral. I know. But when humans fight, it is better to be far away. Send the order. On Earth, deep underground, the Human Defense Council gathered. President Yunji stood at the head of the table. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes were sharp like steel. Report, she said. A general stood up. 4 colonies attacked. No civilian casualties thanks to the shelters, but the Vorath are still advancing. We estimate they will reach the inner colonies in 2 weeks. Yunji nodded slowly. And our fleet? Waking up, Madam President. Admiral Teo has reached the Taiyang shipyards. The Eternal Dawn and 40,000 other ships will be ready in 3 days. 3 days. Yanji looked at the map showing Vorath positions. Make it 2, and contact our retired admiral. Tell him he has command of everything. She turned to face the council. Her voice was calm but heavy with meaning. For 300 years, we kept the peace. We asked only to be left alone. They did not listen. She paused. Show them why they should have. The Taiyang system was hidden in an asteroid field. For 300 years, it had been marked on maps as unstable and dangerous. No one visited. No one asked questions. This was exactly what the humans wanted. When Admiral Taiho arrived, he remembered why. The asteroids were not just rocks. They were camouflage. Behind them sat the largest shipyard in human history. And inside that shipyard waited a fleet that the galaxy thought did not exist. Taiho's shuttle flew past the first row of ships. His breath caught in his throat. Even after all these years, the sight still amazed him. The ships were massive. The smallest ones were cruisers half a kilometer long. The largest were dreadnoughts, the size of small moons. There were thousands of them, tens of thousands, all waiting in the darkness, all sleeping until they were needed. Admiral on deck. Someone shouted as Taiho stepped onto the main platform. Engineers and technicians stopped their work and stood at attention. Many of them were old like Taiho, gray hair and wrinkled faces. They had built these ships decades ago and then waited, hoping they would never have to use them. A woman walked toward him. She was short with sharp eyes and black hair streaked with white. Taiho recognized her immediately. "Hannah," he said. "I was hoping you would be here. Where else would I be?" She smiled, but her eyes were serious. "When they sent Protocol Crimson, I knew it was time. My garden can wait." Hannah was a legend. 50 years ago, she had ended a civil war in 72 hours. Not through violence, but through strategy so perfect that the enemy simply gave up. Some said she could see the future. Others said she could read minds. The truth was simpler. She was just very, very smart. "The eternal dawn is ready," she said. "So are 47,000 other ships. More are waking up every hour." Taiho nodded. "What do we know about the enemy?" They walked to a command center filled with screens and maps. Officers moved quickly, sharing information and giving orders. It was organized chaos. "The Voroth have 10 million ships," Hannah said. "Their main fleet is moving toward our inner colonies. They think this is an easy conquest. They think wrong." "Yes. But they do not know that yet." She pointed at the map. "They have taken 4 of our frontier worlds. Our people are safe in the bunkers, but the Voroth are sitting on our territory. I suggest we change that." Taiho studied the map. His mind was already working, seeing patterns and possibilities. This was what he was born to do. He hated it, but he was good at it. "We'll hit them at Hawanfur first," he said. "Show them what they are really facing. Then we push them back to their own space. And then," Taiho's eyes were cold, "we make sure they never attack anyone again." Far away, the Galactic Assembly watched everything. A Norian scout ship had been observing human space from a safe distance. What it sent back made the entire assembly silent. The images showed ships emerging from asteroids. Thousands of ships, then tens of thousands. Ships that were bigger than anything the galaxy had seen before. Ships that glowed with weapons nobody understood. Ambassador Velix stood before the assembly. He did not need to say much. The images spoke for themselves. "They were hiding this," someone said. "For 300 years, they were hiding this." "Of course they were," Velix said quietly. "They did not want to fight. They wanted to live in peace. So they hid their weapons and hoped no one would make them use them." The Voroth forced their hand. "What do we do?" Velix looked at the frightened faces around him. "Nothing. We stay out of the way. We make sure no one else gets involved. And we pray that the humans show mercy when they win." "Ow." "Not if." Velix almost laughed. "Look at those ships. Look at their numbers. The Voroth have no idea what they started. This war is already over. They just do not know it yet." "Okay." He gave one final order. "Establish a quarantine zone around the conflict. No ships in or out. Let the humans do what they need to do. And document everything. Future generations need to see this. They need to remember why we never disturbed the humans." Emperor Krell sat on his throne, still confident. Reports came in every hour. More colonies taken. More territory gained. The humans were not fighting back, you see. He said to his officers, "They are weak. Just as I said. Old stories meant to frighten children. The mighty humans hide in holes while we take their worlds." Commander Talek said nothing. He had seen the reports that Krell ignored. Strange signals from human space. Power readings that made no sense. Something was happening there. "Something big, Emperor," he finally said. Our scouts have detected unusual activity in the human core systems. Large energy signatures. Ship movements. Reinforcements, Krell said dismissively. A few more ships will not matter. Continue the advance. But the readings are very large. Much larger than expected. Perhaps you should follow orders. Krell stood up, his 4 eyes blazing. I am tired of your warnings, Talek. I am tired of your fear. The Vorath do not fear anyone. We are conquerors. We have destroyed 2,000 civilizations. The humans will be 2001. Talek bowed his head. Yes, my emperor. But that night, alone in his quarters, Talek wrote a message to his family on the homeworld. He told them he loved them. He told them to keep records of everything. And he told them that if he did not return, they should remember one lesson. Sometimes, he wrote, the old stories are true. On the eternal dawn, Taiho stood on the bridge. The great ship hummed with power. Around him, his fleet moved into formation. 47,000 capital ships. Millions of smaller vessels. Weapons that could crack planets. Hannah appeared beside him. We are ready, Admiral. All ships report green. The Vorath have no idea we are coming. Taiho looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, his people were hiding in bunkers, waiting to be freed. Somewhere out there, an enemy was laughing at humanity, thinking they had one. Send a message to all ships, he said. 3 words. Hannah raised an eyebrow. What words? Taiho's face was hard as stone. His eyes were fire. We remember Huan. The fleet jumped into hyperspace. The stars blurred and disappeared. And across the galaxy, every species with sensors felt a chill they could not explain. The humans were coming, and they were angry. The Vorath occupation force at Huan IV was huge. 2 million soldiers on the ground, 5,000 warships in orbit. They had been trying to break into the human bunkers for weeks. They were getting frustrated. Then their sensors screamed a warning. Ships, thousands of ships. Coming out of hyperspace all around them, the Vorath commander barely had time to send an alert. Before the first shots hit his fleet, beams of white light cut through the darkness. Vorath ships exploded like paper and fire. In seconds, 300 vessels were gone. What is happening? The commander shouted. No one could answer. The human ships were everywhere. They moved in perfect formation, like one giant machine. Every shot hit its target. Every maneuver was exact. The Vorath tried to return fire, but the human ships were too fast, too coordinated. On the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, Admiral Taiho watched the battle with cold eyes. His orders were simple and clear. Target their command ships first. Cut off their heads. Then destroy the rest. Beside him, Hannah monitored the battle data. Their formation is breaking. They cannot adapt to our tactics. They expected to fight farmers, Taiho said. They did not expect warriors. The battle lasted for hours. When it ended, not a single Vorath ship remained in orbit. 2 million soldiers on the ground surrendered when they realized no help was coming. The human colonists emerged from their bunkers to see, their sky clear for the first time in weeks. A little girl looked up at her mother. Are the bad aliens gone? Her mother held her close. Yes, baby. They are gone. The news spread across the galaxy. The Vorath had lost 5,000 ships in 4 hours. Every vessel destroyed. Every soldier captured or dead. The occupation of Huan IV was over, but the humans were not finished. Taiho addressed his fleet. We have freed our people. Now we must make sure this never happens again. We are going to Vorath space. We will destroy their ability to make war. We will show them what happens when you attack humanity. The fleet moved forward. More human ships joined them every day. 50,000 vessels became 60,000, then 70. Then 100,000. President Yunji sent a message to the entire galaxy. Her voice was calm, but her words were steel. We did not seek this war. We wanted peace. We asked only to be left alone. The Vorath Empire ignored our wishes. They attacked our colonies. They bombed our cities. They tried to kill our children. Now they will learn the cost of their choice. She paused. To the rest of the galaxy we say this. Do not interfere. This is between us and the Vorath. When it is over, we will return to our corner of space. We will ask again for peace, but we will never forget, and neither should you. The human fleet entered Vorath territory. They moved like a wave, unstoppable and precise. Vorath military bases fell one after another. Shipyards were destroyed. Weapons factories crumbled, but the humans were careful. They did not attack civilian populations. They did not bomb cities. They destroyed only military targets. Every action was calculated, controlled, deliberate. This terrified the galaxy more than random destruction would have. The Vorath were used to enemies who panicked, who made mistakes, who killed without thinking. The humans did none of these things. They were efficient, clinical, professional. They took apart the Vorath military like a surgeon removing a tumor. Emperor Krell watched his empire crumble. Reports came every hour, each one worse than the last. Fleet destroyed. Base captured. Sector lost. His 10 million ships were disappearing like snow in summer. He screamed at his officers. How is this possible? They are just humans. No one could answer. No one understood. The Vorath had conquered 2,000 civilizations. They had never faced anything like this. In desperation, Krell tried everything. He ordered his ships to use civilians as shields. The humans found ways around it. He released biological weapons. The humans had vaccines ready. He begged other empires to help. Everyone refused. Commander Talek came to him one night. The old warrior looked tired and broken. My emperor, he said, I must speak truth. More warnings. More fears? No, just truth. Talek looked at his emperor with sad eyes. I warned you. Everyone warned you. There was a reason the galaxy feared the humans. Now you see why. Krell's face twisted with rage. You dare blame me? I blame no one. I simply state facts. We started this war. We cannot win it. Our only hope is surrender. Surrender. Krell laughed, but there was no humor in it. The Vorath have never surrendered. We would rather die than we will die. All of us. Every last Vorath. Is that what you want? To be the emperor who destroyed his own species? Krell's claws shot out. He struck Talek across the face. The old commander fell, but did not cry out. Take him away, Krell ordered. Execute him for treason. Talek was dragged from the throne room. His last words echoed in the empty hall. Remember this moment, my emperor. Remember it when the human ships arrive at our homeworld. 3 weeks later, the human fleet emerged from hyperspace around. Vorath Prime. 100,000 capital ships formed a ring around the planet. Behind them came millions of smaller vessels. The sky went dark with human power. The Vorath had gathered everything they had left. 10 million ships, every vessel in their empire, formed a desperate defensive sphere. It was the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. It did not matter. Taiho stood on his bridge. Hannah was beside him. Behind them, thousands of officers waited in silence. Open a channel, Taiho said. To Emperor Krell directly. The screen flickered. Krell's face appeared. He looked older now, tired and scared. But he still wore his arrogance like armor. Human, he said. Have you come to negotiate? No, Taiho replied. I have come to give you a choice. Surrender unconditionally. Your military leaders will face trial for their crimes. Your empire will be dismantled. Your weapons will be destroyed. Do this, and your people will live. And if I refuse, Taiho's eyes were ice. Then your species ends today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Your home world will become dust. Your people will become a memory. In 1,000 years from now, when other species tell stories of why you never attack humans, they will point to the empty space where Vorath Prime used to be. Silence filled both ships. Krell laughed, but it was hollow. You would commit genocide. I thought humans were better than that. We are, Taiho said. That is why I'm giving you a choice. Many in my fleet want to destroy you without asking. They remember HFY 4. They remember the bombs and the fear. But we are not monsters. We are humans. We believe in justice. So I am offering you what you did not offer us. A chance to survive. He leaned forward. You have 1 hour to decide. The screen went dark. Hannah looked at Taiho. Do you think he will surrender? Taiho shook his head slowly. No, his pride will not let him. But I had to offer. I had to prove that we are not like them. That even now, after everything, we still try to find another way. He looked at the massive Vorath fleet on his screen. But if they choose to fight, we will end this. Today. 1 hour passed slowly. On both sides, soldiers waited. The Vorath fleet held its position. The human fleet did not move. The entire galaxy watched through distant sensors. Holding its breath, then Emperor Krell's face appeared on the screens again. His eyes were wild with pride and desperation. Humans, he screamed. The Vorath do not surrender. We have conquered 2,000 civilizations. We will not bow to soft creatures who hide in holes. All ships, attack. Destroy them all. 10 million Vorath ships surged forward. It was the largest military attack in galactic history. A wall of metal and fire rushing toward the human fleet. Admiral Taiho watched them come. His face showed no fear, no anger. Only sad acceptance. They chose death, he said quietly. Then louder, all ships, engage. The battle for Vorath Prime lasted 30 minutes. 30 minutes to destroy 10 million ships. 30 minutes to break an empire that had stood for 4,000 years. 30 minutes that the galaxy would never forget. The human weapons were beyond anything the Vorath understood. Ships that seemed to disappear and reappear in different places. Beams that cut through shields like they were not there. Weapons that made stars flicker. The Vorath fought bravely, but bravery was not enough. Hannah coordinated the battle like a master painter creating art. Every human ship knew exactly where to be and when. Every shot was perfect. The Vorath formation fell apart in minutes. Commander Minho led the vanguard straight into the heart of the Vorath fleet. His ships cut through enemy lines like a knife through water. He found Emperor Krell's command ship hiding behind the others. Target locked, Minho said. Firing. 1 shot. That was all it took. Krell's massive vessel broke in half and exploded in silence. When the battle ended, debris filled the space around Vorath Prime. 10 million ships reduced to floating metal. An empire's entire military destroyed in half an hour, but Vorath Prime still floated in space, untouched, unharmed. The humans did not destroy the planet, eh? Single shuttle left the eternal dawn and flew down to the surface. On board was Yuna, the young intelligence officer who had first detected the Vorath invasion. Now, she served as humanity's voice. She landed in the capital city. Vorath civilians watched from their windows, terrified. They expected death. They expected revenge. They expected to become another warning story. Instead, a small human woman walked alone to the government palace. Guards let her pass. No one tried to stop her. What would be the point? The surviving Vorath leaders waited inside. They were military officers, politicians, advisors. All the people who had supported Krell's war. They looked at Yuna with fear and confusion. She was so small, so ordinary. How could her species do what they had just witnessed? Yuna stood before them and spoke. Her voice was calm and clear. Emperor Krell is dead. Your fleet is destroyed. Your empire is over. You have lost. Vorath said nothing. What could they say? We could destroy your planet, Yuna continued. We could kill every Vorath in existence. We have the power. After what you did to our people, many think we should. She paused and looked at each of them. But we will not. Because we are not like you. We do not enjoy killing. We do not celebrate conquest. We fight only when we must. And when we fight, we try to remember that our enemies are still living beings. She took a step forward. We will dismantle your military. We will free the species you conquered. Your leaders will face trial for their crimes. You will pay for the damage you caused. This is not negotiable, but she said, and her voice became softer. Your people will live. Your children will grow up. Your civilization will continue. You will have a chance to become something better than you were. One of the Vorath officers spoke. His voice was shaking. Why? After everything, why show mercy? Yuna looked at him. Because that is what separates us from the monsters of the universe. We have the power to destroy. We choose not to. Remember that. Remember that when humanity could have erased you from existence, we chose mercy instead. She turned to leave, then stopped. And remember one more thing. We have been peaceful for 300 years. We will be peaceful again. We do not want war. We do not want to conquer. We want to live in our corner of space and grow tomatoes and raise our children. Her eyes hardened. But if anyone ever attacks us again, we will do this again. Faster, harder, without hesitation. The mercy we showed today is not weakness. It is a gift. Do not make us regret giving it. Oh. She walked out of the palace and returned to her shuttle. Behind her, the Vorath leaders sat in stunned silence. The war was over. It had lasted 6 months. The Vorath Empire was broken. 2,300 species that they had conquered were freed. Trillions of beings across the galaxy celebrated their liberation, and humanity went home. Ambassador Velix addressed the Galactic Assembly one final time. His silver face was thoughtful, his forearms still. We all saw what happened, he said. We saw the humans hide their strength for 3 centuries. We saw them try peace until peace was no longer possible. We saw them destroy the mightiest military in the galaxy in 30 minutes. And then we saw them show mercy. He looked around the room. Learn from this. Teach your children. Write it in your histories. Never disturb the humans. Not because they are cruel, not because they want to conquer, but because when they fight, they do not stop until the threat is gone. And they have the power to make that happen. He paused. The Vorath forgot this lesson. Let them be the last. On New Busan, spring came again. Taiho stood in his garden, looking at his tomato plants. They'd grown tall while he was away. Sora had taken good care of them. Sora brought him tea and stood beside him. She did not ask about the war. She did not ask about the battles. She knew he would tell her if he wanted to. For now, they just stood together in the sunshine. Tomatoes look good, she said finally. Taiho smiled. They do. I think this will be a good harvest. Put his uniform back in the cabinet that night. He closed the door and hoped he would never have to open it again. At the edge of human space, a memorial was built on Hewan IV. It listed every colonist who had died in the first attack. Flowers grew around it. People came to remember why you and I visited on the first anniversary. She placed a flower on the stone and stood in silence. A child ran past, laughing. Birds sang in the trees that had been replanted after the bombardment. Life continued. Life always continued. An old veteran came to stand beside her. He looked at the names on the memorial. Was it worth it? He asked. All the fighting, all the death. Yuna thought for a long moment. I do not know, she said honestly. But I know this. We did not start the war. We just finished it. And now, maybe there will be peace for it. Another 300 years, till someone else forgets. Yes, until someone else forgets. She touched the memorial one last time and whispered the words that every human child learned. The words that were carved into monuments across human space. The words that would endure long after she was gone. We remember. We endure. And when we must, we fight. The sun set over Hawanfor. The stars came out, peaceful and bright. And somewhere in the galaxy, species taught their children a simple lesson. A lesson that had cost the Vorath everything to learn. Never disturb the humans. Never.